Healing and resting. So once you've gotten wounds in your hand, how can you get rid of them? What can you do to deal with them? Let's first talk about resting. Resting is a type of turn that I can take in which I don't do any movement or any kind of combat or interaction. All I am doing is resting. And in that case, what I would do is I discard one non-wound card into my discard pile and any number of wound cards. So I could discard these wound cards. Now notice, since they're in my discard pile, they will eventually, in other rounds, they will come back, but I can at least get them out of my hand. Now, even though I cannot move or interact with characters or fight, I can play cards that allow healing or skills that allow healing. Now, suppose I've got nothing but wound cards in my hand and I am at my hand limit. That can happen if I get knocked out, for example. In this case, I can't actually rest because I don't have a non-wound card that I can discard. So this is a situation called exhaustion, so I am fully exhausted. In that case, I need to show all the other players that I have nothing but wound cards in my hand. So when I'm fully exhausted, all I can do is discard one wound card. Now at the end of the turn, I will be able to draw a card, and that can be discarded in the next turn. But I can't move, I can't interact with other characters. But if I have a unit that has special healing, and if I'm on a healing location on the map, and we'll talk about that in another second, then you can do those, but you can't actually do any actions from your hand. Note that if a unit is wounded, they cannot be activated and they cannot take any more damage. So they're effectively useless until they're healed. So let's talk about healing. Suppose you had 2 wound cards in your hand. If you drew this card, the Tranquility card, you could heal 1, or if you have green mana, you can heal 2. So in healing, you would take your card out of your hand and put it back into the wound stack. Another way that you can be healed is if you have a unit, you command a unit that has healing. This Herbalist has healing of 2, so if you activate that unit, you can heal 2 and put the cards into the wound stack. You can also heal units. But for units, you have to spend as many healing points as their level. So in the upper right hand corner, this particular unit has a level of 2. So for each wound that I'm trying to heal, I have to pay 2 healing points. So 2 healing points would remove 1 wound. Now again, because of poison, it is possible for a unit to have 2 wounds, and in that case we would have to spend 2 healing points for 1 wound and 2 more healing points for the other wound. Now magical glaives are really nice because if you end your turn on the magical glaive, you can get rid of wounds. Now that's not exactly healing, but it's even better in some senses. So for example, if I'm healing, I can only remove wounds from my hand. I can't remove them from the discard pile. They can get into the discard pile because of poison or because of resting. So if I'm at a magical glade, I can actually get rid of a wound card from my discard pile. So that's a really nice thing. 1 per turn. So if you get to the place where you're ready to rest, you might really want to make sure you move to the magical glade and just rest there, and you can take advantage of that even if you are exhausted.